The DBS Bank of Singapore reported on how Vietnam sustains its growth. Inflation is rising, but the pickup will be transient. Full-year inflation will likely moderate to 7.5% in 2013 and 6.8% in 2014, down from 9.3% last year. Still, the central bank is expected to hold rates steady through the end of the year. Growth has eased to 5% last year but should improve gradually to 5.6% this year and 6% the next year. The government is embarking, however, on a reform path to ensure long-term sustainable growth. From Chart 1, the State Bank of Vietnam cut policy rates by 100 BPS at the end of last year. This brought the refinance rate to 9% and the discount rate to 7%. This is quite consistent that there's room for monetary easing given the moderation in inflationary pressure in 2012. The rate cuts came earlier than expected, thereby raising fears that the central bank could be heading from the same market it made years ago. This fear is further compounded by the fact that inflation has once again picked up after the rate cuts. From Chart 2, moreover, inflation has picked up in recent months. The most recent February 13 inflation registered 7%, up from 6.8% in December last year. The pickup in inflationary pressure on the margin is even more pronounced. The CPI index rose by 1.3% in February against the benign 0.3% in December. From Chart 3, against the backdrop of tight monetary policy, GDP growth in 2012 slowed to 5%, down from 6% the previous year. Although a marked improvement was made in the construction sector, it is largely due to the low base in December 2011 when the government tightened its belt on many developmental projects to rein in the widening fiscal deficit. Generally, the growth pace across the board has moderated, particularly for the key manufacturing and the service sectors. However, from Chart 4 to 5, the improving external balances is strong testaments that economic stability is finally taking hold in Vietnam. Export growth has continued to outstrip import growth despite the challenging external environment. The investment in high value-added manufacturing in previous years is paying off. Moreover, the government's effort to cool the economy and to slow imports is also taking effect. Vietnam recorded its first annual trade surplus for the first time since 1992. Overall trade surplus registered $780 million, which is 0.6% of nominal GDP in 2012, up from a deficit of $9.8 million in the previous year. This has lifted the current account to a surplus position. As long as the central bank and political leaders remain focused on stability, such healthy improvement on the external balances should persist. Indeed, given the improving external balances, the Vietnamese dong will remain stable. DBS forecast is for the Vietnamese dong to hover at 2,750 throughout 2013, given the current economic stability.